Hi everyone, here I want to do another video about Amanda Knox, the American student who spent 4 years in an Italian prison for killing her roommate in Italy in 2007, but was then acquitted in 2015. Here's a recent interview in which she still tries to influence public opinion, and as it is public, we are free to comment on it. This is another fantastic exercise in lie detection. Also, the hard truth is not known here. There are a number of noticeable things about the interview, and we are trying to figure them out here. So let's have a look.
What you nervous about?
Jeez. I think a lot of people think that I'm used to talking about this, and the fact that it still bothers me is good because
Okay, there are a lot of interesting things already. Let's back up for a second. So the first question we have to ask ourselves, what is our first impression about seeing her like this? So the first thing we notice is that she doesn't take up much space. Her arms and legs are close together. Her shirt is buttoned up and looks very conservative. Very plain colors. She looks very Catholic, in fact. The only thing more extreme, in fact, would be if she were sackcloth and have ashes on her head. In the Old Testament, this was a sign of a sinner, someone wanting redemption and showing great humility. The other thing we might also notice is that she looks very thin and potentially even worn out. This is often the case if someone is guilty and it really eats on someone. This was also very similar in Madeleine's case, where the mother, Kate McCann, looked very worn out and thin. This was in an earlier video. So this is our first impression, and it tells us a lot already. Someone is trying really hard here to give this impression of humility and redemption. Of course, if someone would be innocent, that person would have no need to behave like that. So this is telling everything already. Okay, let's get started.
What you nervous about?
jeez.
Very asymmetric smile as well. So these are normally not good signs. This is a sign of contempt and misleading someone. It's not happiness in any way. There's something hidden behind it.
I think a lot of people think that I'm used to talking about this, and
It's interesting because I would have thought that she says that people are still thinking she's guilty of this. But she doesn't mention that. She's just talking about herself now, that it's hard to talk about it, which is completely misleading already at this moment.
the fact that it still bothers me is good because otherwise
So it's about herself, which is strange.
I wouldn't be able to convey it honestly.
Very good as well. So when she says honestly, her voice is breaking, she's stuttering. This is not a good sign. It's very hard for her to say the word honestly. So there's no sign of empathy for her roommate, Meredith's family. So it's the same old story. This is similar to what we saw already in earlier interviews.
And it was great. I really appreciated her
So she's talking about Meredith
just
now.
being there and being this warm, welcoming presence. I was into like classical Italian music, and so when this I saw this flyer for a classical music.
She's storytelling now. She's trying to convey us of her own personal views by giving a very picturesque story, which makes her look very friendly and pleasant.
Concert that was going to be at my university. I was like, yes. I invited Meredith to come along with me, and we went to the music concert, sat next to each other, and I just made eye contact with this Italian guy who was a nerdy Italian guy, and you know, he was cute, and I thought he was cute, so I kind of like did the eyes and smile and
Storytelling.
smile back, and
It's not about Meredith, how she got murdered, and how people think she's guilty. It's about her little cute experience as a student at a classical concert and falling in love.
pay attention to the music. And then at intermission, Meredith had to go and meet her friends, and so she got up and left. And
So that's very interesting. The movement of the thumb. So worst case scenarios, this almost looks like an emblem of cutting someone's throat. This is either done with the thumb or with the index finger and middle finger. At a minimum, is a very dismissive gesture. It basically means get out.
And then Raphael swooped in and took her spot. And then, from then on out, I was in puppy love, and we did everything together.
At this point, did you have any inkling that your life would never be the same?
No.
It's very interesting. So here I think a lot of editing has been done. I think what the interview was really about is the morning after Meredith was found dead and she and Raphael were filmed kissing. Anyway, the thing when she says no and looking down, this is a sign of guilt. So here again, this picture says it all. It's a picture of a guilty woman.
I thought I was just gonna go home. And like for me, it was just overwhelming, the smell of home.
Here it's again very much storytelling. She wants to convince us how she's a poor girl. And again, there's nothing about the tragedy which fell upon Meredith in her family.
I smelled home and it smelled like home. I smelled the grass and the earth and the rain.
She's trying so hard. When I see this, there's guilt written all over her. Also, again, we don't know the hard truth here. It's a very instructional video, I think. So someone tries very hard to convince the public of an opinion.
What I had to do was juggle being
Okay, let's look
the
at a
Amanda
later
Knox
time in the interview.
in the tabloids and Amanda Knox, the just person doing her thing, living her life.
That's also very good. So she looks very worried. Her eyes are wide open. It's a sign of fear. And she stutters when she talks about living her life. That's the guilt coming through because Meredith can't live her life. So it's very hard for her to do that. It would be such a relief for her to just come out with the truth. A big burden would be lifted of her. So it would be a life-changing experience, for the positive actually.
What I had to do
Okay, let's look again. That was very interesting.
Juggle being the Amanda Knox in the tabloids and Amanda Knox, the just person doing her thing, living her life.
So you could see how hard it was for her to talk about that. Yeah, so that was very telling. I hope you liked this video and I talk to you next time. Bye.